Hello, my name is Cristian Doru Barin, and I go by the username This Looks Great, but you can call me Chris. That's short for Christian or Christian in my native language. I'm the creator of this course, but as you can probably tell, English isn't my first language. I put my heart and soul into this course for 7 months and I wanted to be great in every possible way. For that reason, I decided to ask a friend of mine to help with the narration. His name is Mark Rice, and he is an experienced TV presenter, voiceover artist, and radio host. You'll be hearing his voice throughout the entire course, and I'm very happy to have him. Just in case you're wondering, you can contact him at markrice.com. I wrote the entire script out of my perspective, so remember, when he's saying, I recommend this and that, it's actually me, Chris, the creator of the course, that's behind that I. My friend Mark is just the narrator, he has nothing to do with Photoshop. But his voice and accent are great, and I hope you'll enjoy his presence. Even though I would have loved to record the audio by myself, I decided to go with Mark to give you the best possible experience. I'll do this short introduction video about me, and then I'll leave you with Mark to get things going. Okay, I live in Eastern Europe in Bucharest, which is the capital of Romania. I've been a freelance web designer for a number of years, and most recently a full-fledged entrepreneur. That's the bare minimum you need to know about me. What follows next is optional, so you can skip it if you don't want to find out more about me. When I grew up, my family had very little money. I was the youngest child out of 3. My bigger brother and sister lived with us in the same house, and on top of that we had 2 cats as well. I worked as a door-to-door cosmetic sales agent, and I was making around $200 per month. It was at that point where I started my first bakery shop with a longtime friend of mine. I loaned part of the money from my sister, and the rest I got from my small web design projects. To cut a long story short, the bakery business grew into more locations, I sold them all for a profit, and I got into the online environment by creating a daily deal website. It was the same principle as Groupon, only it was specifically for Romania. I sold that one for a profit too, and I repeated the process by taking on another daily deal website and flipping it. Finally, I made the transition to mobile apps, and that's what I'm currently doing. I'm the proud owner of Theme Junkie, a design studio that creates awesome personalization apps for your phone. We specialize in creative keyboards, but we also do lockers, launchers, live wallpapers, and many other cool stuff. During my first businesses, I worked a lot on crowdsourcing platforms like 99 Designs, CrowdSpring, or Hatchwise. I needed the money to constantly finance my business expenses, especially in the summertime when bakeries take a huge nosedive. I relied on my web design money to keep my businesses afloat. So I'd participate in web design contests where the client would post a brief containing his requirements, a cash prize he'd offer to the winner, and this process would span about 1 to 2 weeks. The client would give feedback to the designers and he'd pick the best design in his eyes. The designs were all hidden from each other so nobody could copy any ideas. The winner would get all the money starting from $475 all the way to $2,000 for 1 to 5 pages. All the other designers got nothing. And that's just Photoshop alone, no coding. That's how I seriously got started in web design. I've worked outside of these platforms, of course, and I've had clients from all over the world. But in this competitive environment, I found out what it takes to get ahead of your competition and create amazing looking websites that would impress clients. I've had great success on 99 Designs, and you can actually read an article they did on me. I've had around $35,000 in official winnings, but I'd say you can easily double that number based on the subsequent work I got. On top of that, I worked on CrowdSpring too, where even though I didn't win as much, I made a lot of connections that gave me a lot of projects. Keep in mind that among all this I had my bakeries to run, though albeit I did have help through my business partner. but in general I was working part-time. I couldn't commit 100% to web design, and I still made all that money. Since then, I've become a writer for 99 Designs official blog, and I've started teaching people from my experience. My first course is named Learn Photoshop, Web Design and Profitable Freelancing, and it took me over 4 months to complete. It features 16 hours of content at 1080p, where I teach you everything you need to know about those subjects. It's had great success on Udemy, a very well-known online platform. Awesome reviews, thousands of users, great discussions, the works. I cover both the theoretical and the practical side of things, and in the course you'll see me win $3,600 from a few contests. This is a real step-by-step approach where I show you everything. Nothing is held back. It's like you're looking over my shoulder as I work and earn that money. I've also started a blog named thislooksgreat.net, where I share lots of high-quality PSD freebies that you can use in all your projects. From there, you can get in touch with me directly or through my social media profiles. My passion is 100% web design. I love typography, I love custom graphics, I enjoy the challenge, whether I'm competing with myself or against 100 other designers from all across the world. I take pride in my ad business, and no matter what other ventures I may get involved in, web design will always have a special place in my heart. Hopefully you'll see that passion in the following chapters. Lastly, I'd like to say it's a real privilege to have you watch this course. I put a lot of heart and soul into it, and I hope you'll enjoy and apply all the information in it.
The difference between my courses. You may have noticed I have another course besides this one you're watching. I know you may be wondering what's the difference between them, since both have web design and Photoshop as the main subjects. Look no further, I'm going to explain. First, if you'd rather read up than watch this video, you can visit thislooksgreat.net/Photoshop-training, and you'll see the following image. This will describe the differences in a very straightforward manner. So visit thislooksgreat.net and look for Photoshop training. My explanation will be based on it, so let's take it question by question. First one is this: are they the same course? The answer is no. The content is very much different, as you'll soon find out how and why. I'd say they share around 10% of the content, if not less. So Master Web Design in Photoshop is not an updated version of this course, and it's not the same material under a different name. More about it soon. Next, which one should I start with? Either one is fine really, but you can make up your mind by finding out the differences between them, which I'll cover in just a few moments. If you really want a definitive answer, you can start with Learn Photoshop, Web Design and Profitable Freelancing. I'd say this one because it's more focused on making money. You probably want to earn at least a few $1,000s before you take your learning further. But this is just a suggestion. It's really a coin flip between the two. Both have their strong points and their drawbacks. Does it matter what Photoshop version I have? No, it doesn't. You need Photoshop CS4 at the minimum for both courses. I have another video that explains why it's not an important concern, so please watch that if you want more info about Photoshop version comparisons. How is the content different? Learn Photoshop, Web Design and Profitable Freelancing is aimed towards working on sites like 99 Designs, Crowdspring.com or any other platform that involves a design contest. What's a design contest? Well, it's simple. A client posts a brief containing his thoughts about how the website should look. He sets up a prize for the winner. Usually it starts from $475 per one page, but it can go up to $1,000 to $3,000 for a homepage. Then creatives from all over the world submit their designs, and then the client chooses the best one in his eyes. Designers can only see their entries, so you can't steal any ideas. Also, clients more often than not don't pick the first entry. They usually want changes and adjustments, so this means there's a lot of back and forth. That's a design contest, and it lasts from a few days to around 3 to 4 weeks at the most. So the first course is focused on making you understand how to win these contests. Its main goal is to get you to earn money from your work as fast as possible, so it's very practical in nature. Of course, you will learn the Photoshop, a lot of concepts about web design, but the goal isn't to make you a world-class designer. Instead, it teaches you how you can create a stable income of $1,000 to $4,000 per month. How do you do that? Well, in a nutshell, you'll find out how to select the best contests. Identify those that have the least amount of competition. You'll be taught how to decode the client's brief and wishes. You'll learn how to communicate effectively and make a good impression. You'll set yourself up to get additional work after the initial homepage or first few pages. All this and much more is covered in the course. Again, it's very practical, down to earth, and it covers certain scenarios you will encounter on these sites. The same skills can be applied to other platforms like Fiverr.com, Elance, Freelancer.com and so on, even though these aren't covered specifically. I find most people are drawn to this course because it produces solid results. There's lots of students who have watched the course and have already won contests after a few weeks of work. It's very beginner friendly and it doesn't require any previous experience. The content is progressive, so you'll start from basics things and then you'll escalate to more advanced topics. On the other hand, Master Web Design in Photoshop isn't about making money immediately. It's about raising your skills to another level. While the first course covers certain scenarios you encounter on design contest platforms, this one is more about design knowledge, web design principles, understanding how to think and work efficiently, refocusing your energy, and so on. This doesn't mean it's a bunch of boring theory, far from it. You actually learn by going through case studies, by performing various exercises, and by solving quizzes. The goal is to educate you about the current state of web design and set up a mindset that will allow you to constantly improve your skills. It also features the newest version of Photoshop and the latest trends like flat design. We also create 2 homepages from scratch, several icons, and a custom graphic. The goodies included are amazing too. You will have lots of super high-quality templates, user interfaces, mock-ups, icons, and various website elements. These are much better than the freebies from the first course, but it makes sense why. They're newer and they're created by using the newest techniques. Another point in Master Web Design in Photoshop is the audio and video quality. You'll hear me, Mark, throughout the entire course. Chris, the author of the course, will be heard on the introduction, and that's about it. The rest of the course will be narrated by me, which ensures you'll get perfect clarity at all times. Also, all the videos are recorded at 1920 by 1080, so you'll have a crystal clear image. Master Web Design in Photoshop takes you from charging $500 for a few pages to asking $5,000 for the same amount of work. It's set up in a way where you'll understand what exactly you need to do each and every day to constantly get better. This means your designs will improve considerably, and your bank account will grow accordingly. The first course taught you how to win money, and that's great, but a lot of the times the client doesn't choose the best design because obviously he isn't a specialist in the field. So this is a subtle distinction you have to make. You can win lots of design contests even though you aren't an amazing designer. You can be fairly good and still win lots of money. That's the first course in a super simplistic nutshell. Master Web Design in Photoshop will teach you how to create beautiful, stunning designs. It's not so much about the money because that will inevitably come if your designs are great. It makes sense. This means we don't have to cut any corners and we can focus on the craft itself. It's a big yet subtle difference. The best way to understand it is to watch them both. This course does require a basic understanding of Photoshop. So you have to know the tools, some of the hotkeys, some of the principles, but nothing special. A beginner won't feel overwhelmed due to the progressive nature of the content, so don't worry about it. Okay, I could go on and on about the differences between them, but really, all pride aside, both are great courses that will teach you tons of things. What I hope you will find is that you get way more than what you paid for. Both courses took a very long time to create because they're chocked full of the most relevant, useful knowledge out there. And more importantly, nothing is held back. I share everything I know, all my secrets and personal techniques. For that reason, I recommend you watch both courses. Again, for more of a schematic comparison, go to thislooksgreat.net/Photoshop-training for an overview. Have fun!